Good morning, traders. I am Emily Vani, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Wednesday, November 20th. Wall Street awaits Nivida's earnings this morning following another mixed day for markets yesterday. The Nasdaq climbed 195 points or more than 1%. The S&P 500 added 23 points or 0.4%. The Dow ended lower, down 120 points or just more than 0.25%. Bill, let's get into Wednesday's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Yes, good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. We're up 0.2% this morning. Positive action going on in the market today. Tensions on the Ukraine-Russia situation have de-escalated a bit. Russia foreign minister came out and made a public statement, which really did help. But I mentioned this yesterday. I was like, this is not new news. I mean, remember, this came out in September, so the fact that it just became official yesterday shouldn't really have shaken the market as much as it did yesterday, which is why you saw some morning weakness and some afternoon rallies. And, that's kind of what I was looking for. And yeah, it was a good day because of it. But today, the focus is on Nvidia and Nvidia's earnings, which are due out after the bell. That's going to be the key focus for the day. We're going to be hearing from multiple Fed officials today, including Susan Collins, Michelle Bowman, and Lisa Cook. Trump is said to be closer to making a decision on Treasury Secretary. Don't try and guess what he's going to do because he'll always surprise you. What else do I see? Comcast is looking to spin off cable TV channels. We're talking MSNBC, CNBC, USA, and a couple others. Cord cutting, streaming, really affecting their business. They're not getting those free signups they used to get when everybody used to just get cable for their television access. So they have to make some changes, and they do believe that their overall NBC is really going to be, the jewel. We'll have to wait and see if they're going to be able, if these are going to, if they're going to move forward on this. But it looks like they are going to be spinning off those channels. I'm also seeing some takeover channel and some takeover chatter in INCY, India Nancy Charlie Yellow. They released a drug data yesterday, which fell through, which wasn't good. But it looks like there is some takeover chatter, so that could be positive. In terms of overseas markets, we are seeing some action in Europe this morning. Europe is trading higher. I mean, you got the DAX up 0.4%. You get the FTSE up 0.2%. You get the CAC up 0.4%. 0.4%. They were up higher. You did see big gains early in the morning when these indexes open up, but they have typically pulled back a little bit. Autos are kind of weakening in Germany. UK's got some inflation issues. The October data came in plus 3.3% versus expectations of 3.1%. So they're muted gains is what I'm trying to say here in Europe. Muted gains in Europe this morning. Asia, for the most part, saw green. I mean, the Nikkei did fall, 62 points, which is 0.16%. And we did see some weakness in the auto sector. But, Hong Kong, jumped 40 points, 41 points. That's 0.2%. And the Shanghai in China jumped 0.66%. So that's positive. The central bank in China kept lending rates unchanged after cutting them in October. This is what was expected. Tech stocks were positive. Property stocks were positive. Energy and consumer stocks were a little weakened last night or this morning in Asia. Then we're turning the page and we're looking at oil. Oil is trading higher. You got WTI at $69.85 a barrel. You got Brent at $73.68 a barrel. This is kind of interesting to me because I'm looking at a lot of bearish data. The API data last night came in. Stockpiles rose. Their estimates show that the stockpiles rose 4.8 million barrels. We're looking at media reports saying Hezbollah has agreed to the U.S. ceasefire proposal. These are negative for oil prices, but I am showing oil prices trading a little higher. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that EIA report that's coming out later today, because that's going to be the key one that's really going to affect the direction of the market. And that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, in that opening there, you just mentioned a whole rundown of information that we should be watching today: corporate news, economic events, and of course, earnings. Nvidia is the headline here, but we'll first turn to all of the earnings action going on today. So, Bill, what is going on in terms of earnings?
We got Keysight Technologies, ticker KEYS, Kilo Edward Yellow Sam. They released last night. They delivered a beat of 8 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. You look at the stock keys this morning, it's up 9.35%. We're looking at Target, TGT, Tom Grayson, bad report, missed by 45 cents on lower revenue. TJT down, 16.28%. Then you get the TJ Maxx, TJX, Tom John X-Ray. They beat by 4 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. That stock's down 3% on the day. Upcoming, we got Snowflake, ticker SNOW, Sam Nancy Oscar William. EPS is 15 cents. Expected move is 11.63%. Palo Alto Networks, PANW, their EPS is $1.48. Expected move is 8.84%. Then there's Nvidia. This is one everyone's going to be watching for. Bar is kind of high. Bar is high. EPS is 74 cents. Expected move is 9.83%. Yeah, I'm cautious here. I'm not going to trade it into earnings, ticker NVDA, because it can go anyway. Stock's a little too rich for my blood right now. But, all things could still be firing off very well. Demand seems to be strong. So Nvidia, too close to tell, but they are releasing after the bell. 9.83% expected move once the release hits the tape, Emily.
And speaking of hitting the tape, you will get that information right as it comes out, keeping track of all of those earnings using your NewsWare alert. The other thing you're keeping track of are the economic events of the day. You did mention the EIA stockpiles report, but they'll give us a look at everything we should be watching when it comes to economic events.
10 a.m. this morning, we get the Atlanta Fed business inflation expectations. And at 10:30, we get the EIA oil stockpiles report. We've got a lot of Fed speak. At 10 a.m., we're going to be hearing from Fed's Vice President of Supervision, Michael Barr. At 11 a.m., we're going to hear from Fed Governor Lisa Cook. At 12:45 p.m. today, we're going to be hearing from Michelle Bowman. She's a Fed governor. And then at 4, we're going to hear at 4 p.m., we're going to hear from Boston Fed Bank President Susan Collins. So, yeah, a lot of Fed speak today, a lot of Fed speak.
And again, being able to track all of that using your NewsWare, having alerts set up for those Fed officials, also for those economic events. And you're also keeping track of other news. As we heard, some corporate headlines making waves in the market today. Bill, you're looking at things this morning using your NewsWare alerts, as you do every morning, things like merger news, guidance news, buyback news, shareholders meetings. You're also looking at your stocks grouped together, like your FANG stocks and your Dow 30 stocks. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
Doing a quick data check. I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I got 18 higher, I got 12 lower. That's positive going into the day. And then you look at your FANG stocks. A little weakness in Tesla, but the other FANG stocks are trading higher. So, Amazon and Apple are kind of flat, but we'll have to wait and see. I do think we're going to have a positive day today. Looking for some of the news behind the tape, like Amazon. Amazon's really in a race to produce this new AI Alexa. But it's hitting snags because there's a big delay between people asking it questions or giving it a task to do and getting a response, and that's causing a problem because if it's a delay, how long is that delay? Is it a couple of seconds? Is it a couple of minutes? Is it more than a couple of minutes? This is a problem for Amazon. If they're going to try and come up with a new Alexa. Google, their Chrome, they could be ordered to sell Chrome. If that happens, that thing's worth $20 billion. So let's keep an eye out for that. Let's talk Meta Platforms for a second. Microsoft says Windows 11 is coming to Meta Quest 3 and Quest 3S. Think about it. For business applications, that headset that they do, that could be huge. Getting access to Microsoft Windows over that headset could really be a big boom for sales of their headset. So, that's positive news for Meta. And you look at Meta this morning, the stock's up 0.5%. Then we're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks. We're going to start off with Microsoft, ticker MSFT. Satya Nadella, the CEO, he indicated that AI advancements have slowed due to struggles with large data language models. This is going to be they're going to be able to overcome this. But wow, that's kind of shocking that it would say that to me. What else do we see? Apple, they're boosting their investment in Indonesia by $100 million. They really want to try and undo that ban of sales of the iPhone 16, and to do that, they're paying the government essentially a bribe. Walmart, CEO came out yesterday and he said that, consumers are facing higher prices if Trump moves forward with those tariffs on China. Yeah, you can believe that. That's definitely going to be true. In terms of merger news, Nippon Steel, the CEO of Nippon Steel is going to meet with Pennsylvania Governor Shapiro today. It looks like Comcast, ticker CMCSA, Charlie Michael Charlie Sam Apple. They're going to be spinning off NBC Universal Cable TV networks. We get Merck is INCY. Merck is said to be linked to those takeover to a takeover bid in INCY. Talk about guidance news. Lazy boys see Q3 revenue coming in 505 million to 525 million. Street estimates 512. Right in the middle. That's good. Delta Airlines. I remember, they're out there and they came out with their Q4 EPS. 160 to 185. Street estimate 172. Okay, it's solid. Target, they see Q4 adjusted EPS $1.85 to $2.45. Street estimate is $2.64. Ooh, that's not good. That's a big downtick. In terms of shareholders meetings going on, Delta is having an Investors Day today. Starts at 8:30 a.m. Rockwell Automation, ticker ROK, Richard Oscar Kilo, they're having their annual Investors Day today. Starts at 1:15 p.m. In terms of catalyst calls, EVGO, Elvis, Victor, Grace, Oscar, they're JP Morgan put the stock on a positive catalyst watch this morning. Urban Outfitters, ticker URBN, Uncle Richard, Boy Nancy, Citibank opened up 30-day positive catalyst watch on the stock. Stock's going into earnings next week. That's what I have for you in terms of news in the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk Pick of the Day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
I got to go with Pfizer, ticker PFE, Paul Frank Edward. This is, the fact of the matter is they did name a new oncology chief, which is, covers up, that's positive. But they have a hemophiliac drug that just got approval, marketing approval in Europe, which I think is positive. And the stock is really, undervalued here. I look at it, yesterday's call volume, 117,789 calls, traded to 53,750 puts. Wow, that's a big differential. And then you got open interest, 1,683,101 versus 1,500,000 essentially. So, it's positive on both. But yesterday's call volume was very strong. Major brokers do like the stock. I mean, I saw one raising a price target, which is, positive, but it's if I can get it at $25.15, I don't mind holding on to this stock because, Pfizer, it doesn't take much for the stock to, trade 29. So, my pick of the day is Pfizer. I'm just going to try and run at 1% today. And, but that's my stock of the day, Pfizer, ticker PFE, Paul Frank Edward at 25.15, Emily.
We will follow Pfizer with you today. And coming up, we will do a recap on yesterday's pick of the day. There's a hint here. It was in your earnings report, not doing well this morning, but we'll see if you were able to sneak out with a gain on that one coming up. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Let's talk Ford, ticker F. Ford reduces European workforce by 4,000 positions. Medtronic, ticker MDT, Michael David Tom. Medtronic announces FDA clearance for its new InPen app. Chipotle, CMG, they're opening up their 1,000th restaurant. Northern Trust, NTRS. Northern Trust enhances collateral management with cloud margin collaboration. Delta Airlines, DAL, provides long-term financial targets at Investors Day. See mid-teens operating margins. Novo Nordisk, ticker NVO, Nancy Victor Oscar. This is interesting. Stock's cheap, 103, 104. I mean, they just launched their blockbuster weight loss drug, Wegovy, in China. That could do something there. ExxonMobil, they signed a non-binding lithium supply deal with battery maker and parts maker LG. Apple, they're going to be asking a federal judge today to dismiss the U.S. Justice Department case accusing the iPhone maker of unlawfully dominating the U.S. smartphone market. And they do dominate. Alibaba, ticker BABA, company raised $5 billion in a dual currency bond. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we sign off, dive into trading on this Wednesday. Let's do a quick check-in on yesterday's pick of the day, which was Target. Now, you did tell us during your earnings rundown they did have a miss there. That Target reported a Q3 adjusted EPS of $1.85. The consensus here had been $2.30. They've reported Q3 revenue of $25.23 billion versus the consensus of $25.9 billion. You also gave us that note about their forward guidance during your NewsWare alerts breakdown. Number of things to sort of sift through here in this report. So this stock is down pretty hard this morning. However, you were looking to trade this one yesterday ahead of that earnings report this morning, and you were looking for your 1% gain, and you'd walk away if you got it. Bill, did you stick to your strategy? How did your call work out?
It worked out. Made money in it yesterday. I mean, look at the numbers. The stock opened up at 156.20 and then fell to 154.01. Then it ran all the way up to 158.42. Listen, it was a negative open. We knew it was going to be a negative open. We didn't know how low Target could go because, the Russia situation was causing a dark cloud in the markets. And that caused, Target to sell off. But anticipation was hot going into these earnings. And I was able to get in at $155. I got in right, with 155 even. And then I was able to walk away at 156.50. There's your 1%. It was easy and it was actually done. I actually was able to do it twice yesterday. But during the day yesterday was really the time to trade it because in this model you're not looking to grab the 1%. That's doable. Grabbing 1% is easier when you're focused on it instead of going for the big gains, because if this stock was set to move $14, you just don't know the direction. But if you're playing the run up because the anticipation is hot going into earnings, you can be successful. Just understand you're going to be upset when on those days when the stock moves 13%, you're not holding anything. But I made money in Target. I'm not complaining. TGT was a winner for me yesterday, and and I'm living to trade another day, Emily.
Consistency key there with that 1%. Take it when you see it. Definitely a win there, Bill. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Pfizer pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.